Welcome everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Kia ora, as the New Zealanders will say, Kiwis. So, welcome to our first live session of the 2017 paper. Just to go through a few points. In maths, we learn by making mistakes, and so we need to make mistakes quickly. So the quicker we make the mistakes, the better it is, because we learn through our mistakes. The other thing that we do to improve in maths is we have to try harder questions. So that's a bit strange, because hard questions, you don't really want to do hard things because you want to get things right. So you want them to be easy. But it's the other way around. Do hard questions and then you get higher grades. In terms of how I'm going to do this exam paper, I'm going to bank the easy marks. So you're going to see what happens with that, what I mean by that. Today's session is going to be 30 to 45 minutes long, so not that long, hopefully. It's the first time I'm doing it. If you enjoy this, then make a comment and in the comments, and then I can take your feedback. And then, so as I'm going through this, I will kind of try to label each question easy, medium, and hard. And so I will do the easy questions, then I'll look at the medium ones, and then the hard ones. Realistically, we may get into the medium ones, definitely not the hard questions. So that's how this session will play out. In terms of the June 2017 exam paper, looking at the marks, grade boundaries for that. So these were the total marks, and then this is what they work out to be. So if you wanted to get a grade 9 per paper, you needed 53 marks. For grade 7, you needed 42 marks. For grade 6, you needed 32. For grade 5, 23, and grade 4, 14. For grade 3, you needed 9 marks. So the way I'm doing these papers is really about banking as many marks as we can, doing the easy questions, and you'll see we'll kind of very easily get to these marks. And then the other questions, obviously, will be harder to get. The other thing to point out is, obviously, these are indicative. That doesn't mean this year's grade boundaries will be this low or whatever. They will get higher. So as we do more and more papers, we'll get an idea of how many marks we need for each paper. So I hope that's okay with you. So let's get cracking with the first few questions. Also, in case I have any technical problems, I'll just redo a live stream. So just go to the channel and then see if any live sessions are happening. All right, so here is the first question. So I've zoomed out because it's we've got a graph here, so I need to zoom out. So I'll let you have a moment with this question, and then I will kind of have a go. So the first one is worth 1 mark. So the scatter graph shows the maximum temperature and the number of hours of sunshine in 14 British towns on one day. So we've got maximum temperature, number of hours of sunshine here, and you can see there's a pattern here, and clearly there's something there. One of the points is an outlier. Write down the coordinates of this point. So one of the points is an outlier, so we can clearly see that this is the point that is not fitting this match. So that's what we call an outlier. Now, we need to write down the coordinates of this point. Coordinates are x, y. So we need to go along the corridor and then up the stairs or down the stairs. So in this case, we're going across. So what are we going across here? So we need to look at the x-axis. So we're going to this point here, about here. If I use a ruler just to make that clear. So this is my point here. You can clearly see this is in between 9 and 11, so that's 10. And if I go across, you can see this is between 20 and 18, so this is 19. So my coordinates are along the corridor 10, and then up the stairs 19. So I can write that in my answer box. 10, 19. So that's question 1. Let's look at the next one. For all the other points, write down the type of correlation. So type of correlation, have a think about that, and then I will answer that question. Okay, so this one here, correlation. There are three types of correlation that we have in maths. We have something that goes up, which is called a positive correlation. Something that goes down, a pattern that goes down, which is a negative correlation. And then we have a last one where there is no pattern. It's just random, which is no correlation. And so you can clearly see there is an uptrend going on here. You can see there's an uptrend. So this is what we call a positive correlation. Okay, let's go to the next one. So I'll give you a few seconds to try this one. So let's go through this question. On the same day in another British town, the maximum temperature was 16.4. Estimate the number of hours of sunshine in this town on this day. So what's going on the same day in another British town, the maximum temperature was 16.4. So if I look at this, the thing to look at is I'm looking for 16.4. So I want to see what this trend is. So I want to draw a line of best fit. Once I've drawn the line of best fit, it will be easier to find this point. So the line of best fit, I'll use a pencil just to kind of draw that. So what I want to do is I want to get my line of best fit, and I want to have the same number of points above and below the line as much as I can. So here I've got 3 points below the line, 3 points above the line, and it can also go through the lines. So I'm going to try and do that to the best of my ability. They're not going to be perfect. So how many points do I have? Well, it's got 14 there, but this is an outlier, so let's call it 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So roughly, if I divide that by 2, 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. So I want kind of 6 points below the line, 6 points above the line, 1 going through the line, something like that. So if I just, let me do something that is not right, first of all. So if I just do a random line like that, you can see 1, 2, 3 points, if you like, to the right and lots of points to the left. So that's clearly not accurate. So that gives you an idea of what not to do. Let's rub this out and try again, do a proper one. So I want to get as many points above the line and below the line. So if I go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again as well. So evenly, roughly they're kind of evenly distributed in that sense. Now, clearly I can have slightly different lines, so that I will come back to that point shortly. The next thing to do is find my point. So I'm going to find 16.4. So I can see here, this is 17. So each little box is 0.2. So I'm going to look for 16.4 here. So 1, 2 squares here. So I'm going to draw a line across now. we've drawn a line across, and I'll also draw this line. So you can see here that it's crossing this point. So now from here, I can go down to the x-axis. And you can see here that it's not 13, it's 1 square below. So again, this is going up in twos, 12, 12.2, 12.4, 12.6, 12.8. So this is 12.8, 12.8. So that's my answer there, 12.8. So I hope that's clear. So estimate the number of sunshines in this town on this day. So it's 12.8. Now, if you draw this line of best fit, that's a method mark. So that's your 2 marks. 1 mark is kind of almost guaranteed with this line of best fit. Now, your line of best fit can be slightly different to this. That's why when it comes to your answer, you have a range. So 12 to 13, as long as you got something between 12 to 13, you get both marks. And this is what the mark scheme allows. The mark scheme allows a range of answers for this. So just double checking the mark scheme. So yes, it does say 12 to 13. Right, let's go to the next part. And I can zoom in a little bit to this question now. So the weatherman says, and I'll give you a few seconds to try that question before I answer it. Off you go. So here we go. A weatherman says temperatures are higher on days when there is more sunshine. Does the scatter graph support what the weatherman says? Give a reason for your answer. So temperatures are higher on days when there is more sunshine. Clearly, that's the case because as the temperature goes up, the number of hours of sunshine goes up. So it's a positive correlation. So does the scatter graph support what the weatherman says? You can say yes, as temperature goes up, the number of hours of sunshine goes up. It is a positive correlation. It is a positive correlation. I'm going to underline this keyword. That is part of your key reasoning for this question. So that's very important that you show the examiner what he's looking for. Those are the keywords that the examiner is looking for. Okay, let's go to the next one. So notice this is altogether 5 marks. So going back to my tally, I'm going to make a tally that I've just got 5 marks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks. I'll come back to that. Next question, question 2. Question 2 is worth 2 marks. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to try that. Okay, so express 56 as the product of its prime factors. So what does this mean? So first of all, what is product? Product means multiply. And then we've got prime factors. So what are prime numbers? Prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and so on. So we need to express it as a product of its prime numbers. So I'm going to start with 56. And you can do the middle part in many different ways, but your final answer will be the same. So I'm going to do 2 times half of 50 is 25, half of 6 is 3. So add them together, you get 28. So 2 times 28. Okay, I could have chosen other numbers like 14 times 4, for example. It would give you the same answer, but let's carry on like this. So 2 is a prime number. I circle it and I continue. 2 times 14 gives me 28. So again, 2 is a prime number. 2 times 7 gives me 14. So 2 is a prime number, 7 is a prime number. So everything is circled. So I stop here. So this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. Or this, you could rewrite this as 2 cubed times 7. Both would be correct. Now, just as a pointer, I've said you could do this. So if I go back to that one, 56 is 14 times 4. 14 is not a prime number, so 2 times 7. 2 is a prime number, 7 is a prime number. 4 is 2 times 2, so 2s are prime numbers. You can see 2, 7, 2, 2, 3 2s and 1 7. So you get the same answer. So just so that you are confident on that. So that's another 2 marks. So let's add that to our tally. I'm just noticing question 1 actually took quite a lot of time. So that wasn't necessarily an easy question. I should have skipped that one. But anyway, I'll do that for future questions. Let's look at the next one. All right, question 3. Work out 54.6 times 4.3. So I'll give you a few seconds to do that one, and then I'll go through the answer. This is something, I wouldn't say this is an easy question. I would actually classify this as a medium one, because it's kind of, it takes a bit of time to do this one. So using my method. So let's try that. Off you go. Okay, let's go through this one now. So what I have is it's a decimal multiplied by a decimal. So rather than using decimal points, I'm going to, step 1, turn it into a whole number. Step 2, I'm going to multiply the numbers. And then step 3, I'm going to turn it back to a decimal. Okay, so those are the 3 things I want to do. So let me just kind of rewrite this. 54.6 times 4.3. Now, you can see this is a, I'm just going to ignore this. So the decimal points, I've got 546 times 43. So that's just a whole number now. Now you can do your own multiplication method. Now, because my focus is on grade kind of 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm going to use the Galotia method. And this method, you are very unlikely to make a mistake. So I'm going to put 5 here, 4 here, 6 here, and then I'm going to have 4 here, and I'm going to have 3 here. I like this method because everything is in one place. So now I just do my diagonals. So now I can do 6 times 4, 6, 12, 18, 24. 6 times 3, 6, 12, 18. 4 times 4, 4, 8, 12, 16. 4 times 3, 4, 8, 12. 5 times 4 is 20, 2, 0. 5 times 3 is 15. And now I'm going to be adding along the diagonal. So I've got 8 here. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. I've got 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14. So I'm going to carry the 1, put the unit down. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, and I've got 2 there. So my digits are 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Now, I've multiplied the number. Now I need to turn it back to a decimal. So I've got here 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. I've got one place value here and another place value here. So I've got two place values altogether. So I'm going to add 2 place values there, and I'm going to put my decimal point there. So that's how I turn it back to a decimal. And so this is worth 3 marks. So my final answer is 234.78. Okay, so that's another 3 marks. So 1, 2, 3 marks. I'm on 10 marks already. And so already I've got my grade 3 in the bag. So you can see if you practice those core skills, that automatically gets you to a grade. You're not going to be failing, getting a U. Let's go to the next question. Question 4. Okay, question 4. I've got a square here, or something that looks like a square. It could be a rectangle. The area of a square is a square, as it says. ABCD is 10 centimeters squared. The area of this is 10, and then show that x squared plus 6x equals to 1. So this is what I would call a medium to hard question. So this could take me a long time. So I'm going to skip it for now, because I'm going to come back to this later, because clearly there's some thinking required. It doesn't look something as obvious. All right, let's go to the next one. Question 5. This rectangular frame is made from 5 straight pieces of metal. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 here. The weight of the metal is 1.5 kilograms per meter. Work out the total weight of the metal in the frame. And this is worth 5 marks. Again, this doesn't look as easy. So I'm going to label this as a medium to hard question, and I'm going to come back to this later. Okay. But what I will do rather than skipping is, this is key. Sometimes, even if I didn't understand this, if I take this, look at this diagram, and I simplify it, what can I see here? I can clearly see a right-angled triangle. A right-angled triangle. Now, when I have a right-angled triangle, I can be working out an area. It could be Pythagoras' theorem, or it could be trigonometry. And so even if I didn't read this information, I can now break this down and find out which topic it is. So if we have time in today's session, we'll come back to this question. So for now, I'm going to skip it, because I want to prove my point about banking the easy marks. All right, here's another question. The equation of the line L1 is y equals 3x take away 2. The equation of the line L2 is 3y minus 9x plus 5 equals to 0. Show that these two lines are parallel. So this is a medium question, in my opinion. Is it a median? It's parallel. So it doesn't look. It shouldn't be as hard as it looks. So let's have a go at this one. So it's worth 2 marks. So I'll give you a few seconds to try that one. Off you go. All right, let's get cracking. Right, so this is the equation. The equation of the line. It's clear. Let me just sharpen it. There we are. So the equation of the line L1 is y equals to 3x take away 2. The equation of the line L2 is 3y take away 9x plus 3 equals to 5. Show that these two lines are parallel. So we got to show that, which means they've given us the answer. They are parallel. So we need to show they are parallel. So if we are looking at parallel lines, we're looking at straight line graphs, which is y equals mx plus c. That is the topic we're looking at. So y equals mx plus c. The m, what is the m? The m is the gradient. So if something is parallel, the gradient is the same. Okay, the gradient is the same. And the c is our y-intercept. If something is parallel, then the y-intercept are different. So I need to show that these are different. So same and different. Now, if I look at my equation, so let me kind of plan this out. So I'm going to use step one is to use y equals mx plus c. So that's my first thing. I'm looking for that. The second thing I need to do is somehow I've got to rearrange things. Rearrange, or I need to manipulate so that it becomes into this format. I need to change it to this format. And then I have to do the show that part. So this is the show that. So this could be worth a communication mark. So let's look at line 1. So line 1, y equals 3x minus 2. So you've got y equals mx plus c. You can see it's in that format. Now let's look at line 2. Line 2 is 3y take away 9x plus 5. So let me do this by the side here, just so that I can manipulate things. So y equals mx plus c. So you've got 3y take away 9x plus 5 equals to 0. You can see it's not in that format. So what I can do is I can take this to the other side, and I can take this to the other side. Okay, so the opposites. I'm doing the opposite of minus 9x is plus 9x. So if I take it to the right-hand side of the equation, the negative becomes a positive. The same thing with the plus 5. It can become minus 5. Opposite of plus 5 is minus 5. And the 3y stays as it is. So you can slowly see I'm getting there. I've got 3y, and I need it to make it y. So I now need to remove the 3. So I need to divide everything by 3. So now I can simplify this. But the 3's will cancel. I've got y equals 9 divided by 3 is 3x. And I can leave this as a fraction, 5 over 3. I don't need to worry about that. So L2, I'm going to put this, align it next to the other one. You can see y equals 3x take away 5 over 3. So you can now see that the gradients are the same. That's what I wanted to do earlier. I wanted to show that the gradients are the same. And then the y-intercept is different. Okay, so you can see that the y-intercepts are different. So I can just state that as well. Both lines have the same gradient and different y-intercepts. You actually don't need to write that sentence down, but I've shown that and I've kind of clearly made that clear to the examiner. So that's done. Question 6 is worth 2 marks. That took us a bit of time actually. So we're now 12 marks. We've banked 12 marks so far. Let's look at the next question. Question 7. There are 10 boys and 20 girls in a class. The class has a test. The mean mark for all the class is 60. The mean mark for the girls is 54. Work out the mean mark for the boys. So there's a lot of text there. So this is a medium to hard question. We're still at the first half of the paper, so I would say that's a medium question. So I'm going to skip that. Let's look at the next question, question 8. Okay, so question 8, we can see that this is a standard form question. So that's worth 1 mark. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Off you go. Okay, so this is a nice kind of again, you have to remember how to do this. So if you don't know how to do this, you need to practice that. It's not an advanced question. It's just a simple changing into from standard form to ordinary number. So I've got 7.97 times 10 to the power minus 6. So that's saying I'm dividing by 10 to the power 6. So I'm just going to put my digits here, 7, 9, 7. And so dividing by 10 to the 6 means I've got 6 place values. So it's from here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put my decimal point there, and I just add the zeros where the curves are, if you like. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So just making that clear. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 7. And I can just count it as well, just to make sure there's 6 place values here. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 place values. I'll draw it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 place values. So it matches. Nice, easy mark there. And so you can see now why I'm skipping questions. All right, next one. Okay, this time we are working with division. 2 marks. Off you go. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Okay, so work out the value of 2.52 times 10 to the power minus 10 to the power 5 divided by 4 times 10 to the power minus 3. Give your answer in standard form. So what I like to do, step 1, is I like to put them in a fraction format. Fraction. And then I look at the numbers. Step 2 is we do the division with the numbers, divide the numbers. Step 3, I work on the powers. So powers, remember, division is take away, subtracting the powers. So that's what I'm going to do. After I've done that, I have to check if it's in standard form. So those are the things that I need to do. So let's go through these steps. So first of all, put it in a standard fraction format. 2.52 times 10 to the power 5 divided by 4 times 10 to the power minus 3. So I can clearly see my numbers are here and my powers are here. So I need to do the numbers first. So I'm going to do 2.52 divided by 4. So I'm going to change that to a whole number. So I'm going to say it's 252 divided by 4. And so I need to half this first of all. So I'm going to divide it by 2. Half of 200 is 100. Half of 50 is 25, or 52 is 26. So plus 26. So that's 126 divided by 2. And then I can divide that by 2. Half of 120 is 60, plus half of 6 is 3. So that's 63. Okay. I could have done the other way. Is any way that you want to do 252 divided by 4, you can do that. You could use the bus stop method. All right, so now I need to put my place value in. So there's 2 place values. So this becomes 0.63, 2 place values. So that's my first part. I've done my fraction. I've done my divide numbers. Now I need to divide the powers. So the powers, I've got 5 take away minus 3. 5 take away minus 3. So I've got 2 negatives together, makes a plus. So that becomes 5 plus 3. So this now becomes 0.63 times 10 to the power 5 plus 3 is 8. I didn't write that down. So that's 8. Now this is not in standard form. So that's my last check. Check if it's in standard form. Standard form starts with a number that's less than 10, between 1 and 9, or less than 10. So 0 is not. So I need to multiply this by 10, 6.3. So because I've multiplied it by 10, I need to bring a power of this down. So this now becomes 6.3 times 10 to the power, oops, the paper's moving, times 10 to the power 7. So squeezing it into here. So my final answer is 6.3 times 10 to the power 7. So I hope that's clear, and we are nearly running out of time. So let's just keep cracking, see if there's any other easy questions that we can do. And before I forget, that's a nice 2 marks and 3 marks there. So 1, 2, 3 marks there. We're already on 15 marks, so we are now on a grade 4. So you can see we've skipped quite a lot of questions, but we're now on grade 4. All right, let's move on to the next one. Question 6. Right, question number 9. Have a go at that. So this is a question I would classify as medium, but we do cover this a lot. Jules buys a washing machine. 20% VAT is added to the price of the washing machine. Then Jules then has to pay a total of £600. What is the price of the washing machine with no VAT added? So I'm going to use the box method, because that kind of helps me visualize the problem. So Jules buys a washing machine. 20% VAT is added. So I always start off with 100%. And in this case, I'm adding 20%. So I'm going to add 20% here. So that's just information. Jules then has to pay a total of £600. This is the critical part. What does this £600 represent? 20% is added to the price of the washing machine. Jules then has to pay a total of £600. So it's a total of everything. So all of this is represented by £600. That is the critical part. Okay, so now you can see that all of that total, that's 100 plus 20, that's 120% equals to £600. Okay, it's not 100%, it's not the 20%, it's all of that. That is the critical part. What is the price of the washing machine with no VAT? So again, taking away that 20%. So I'm looking for a smaller answer. Now, this is now inviting me to get to that 100% if I can't see it. So can I get to 100%? Can I go there in one jump, or do I need a few jumps in between? Okay, so I need a few jumps in between. So what number do I divide or multiply to get to this? Now I can spot a pattern here, 20, 120. So I've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. So 20 is a nice number. So I can get to 20. And then I can get to 100%. So what do I do? Divide 120 by to get to 20. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm dividing by 6. And then what do I multiply with to get to 100? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100. So that's 5 times. So 120 divided by 6 gives me 20. 20 times 5 gives me 100%. So I do the same working out on the other side. You can see the numbers, it's non-calculator, but the numbers are nice and kind of comfortable to do. So 600 divided by 6 is 100. And then I'm multiplying by 5. So 100 times by 5 is 500. So my final answer is £500. Okay, so that's another 2 marks. So I'm 17. I want to get to 23 to get to that grade 5. So I need another 5 marks. Can we do that in the next few minutes before our session ends? All right, so this is a triple brackets I can see. So question 10, show that x plus 2 plus 3 can be written in the form of that. It's a medium question. It's not a, I'll come back to this. It's not going to take long to do, but it's a medium question. I just want to carry on with my point about showing easy marks in the paper. So let's look at question 11. Question 11, I've got to zoom out a little bit, I hope, without any problems. So have a go at this. I'll give you a few seconds. So question 11, the graph of y equals f of x is drawn on the grid. So I've got this grid. Write down the coordinates of the turning point of the graph. So I need coordinates of the turning point. So the turning point is, you can see here, the graph goes down, then it goes up. So it's around here. This is the turning point where it changes. So I need the coordinates. Coordinates are x, y. So along the corridor, up or down the stairs. So here you can see along the corridor, this is 1. So I've got 1, and down the stairs, so along the corridor 1, down the stairs is 3, minus 3. So that's a nice easy mark. So you can see question 11 is literally taking me a few seconds to do. 1 minus 3. Okay, I could have got bogged down with those other questions, but I didn't. I'm going to go back to them later. Right, let's look at part B. Write down estimates for the roots of f of x. The roots of f of x, what does roots mean? Roots mean y equals 0, where it crosses the x-axis, So where does it cross the x-axis? You can see clearly here, this place and this place here. So now I have to be very careful with these squares. So I've got one that's 10 squares to make 1. So each little bit is 0.1. So each square is 0.1. So here I've got 5, then I've got 6, and then 7. So this is 2.7. And if I look here, I've got minus 5 squares, 0.5, 6, 7, so minus 0.7. I have to write down 2.7 or minus 0.7. Again, nice easy mark there. Now, in the mark scheme, there is some leniency. You could write 2.7 to 2.8. Anything in between that you can get marks for, as well as minus 0.7 to minus 0.8. So you could have said 0.75, minus 0.75, minus, or something like that. All right, let's look at the last question here. Use the graph to find an estimate for f of 1.5. So what does that mean? That means x equals to 1.5. So where is x equals to 1.5? I can see it's here. X equals to 1.5. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to, so if it's not clear, I go to 1.5. So here I'm going to go down to the graph. You can see here it's crossing, it touches the graph there, and now I read across. So now I've got to be careful about this. So here there are 5 squares to get to 1. So that means each little square is 0.2. So I've got 2 minus 2, then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So that's minus 2.8. So minus 2.8 there. So I'm going to write my answer as minus 2.8. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3 easy marks there. We're doing well. We're very close to 1, 2, 3 marks there. We're very close to a grade 5 now. We're on 20. Can we get 3 more marks? Okay, so let's go back to some of these other questions that we did. Let's just have a quick glance at the other questions. Question 11, question 12. Okay, so question 12. Again, that looks quite quick. We can do this quite quickly. All right, 81 to the power minus a half. I'll give you a few seconds to do that one. So first of all, what does a negative power mean? It means it's a reciprocal. Reciprocal. Okay, reciprocal. What is a reciprocal? So for example, if I have 3 over 2, it becomes 2 over 3. I swap them. If I have, say, a whole number 2, 2 as a fraction is 2 over 1, so they swap, becomes 1 over 2. So I'm swapping them. And then if I have a power half, that's also a square root. So let me do this one at a time. So I'm going to do the reciprocals first. I'm going to do 1 all over 81, and the negative will disappear, so I've got a half. Okay, so I've got the reciprocal there. So you can see a 2 over 1 becomes 1 over 2. So all of that is over, 1 is over all of that. And now it's a square root. So I'm going to do 1 over the square root of 81. What's the square root of 81? What two numbers multiplied gives me 81? Has to be 9. So that's 1 over 9. So 1 over 9 is my final answer. Nice, easy 2 marks there. I'm on 22 marks, and our session is 46 minutes long. Question 13 is a little bit longer. It will take us a bit long to do. This one is very worded, as you can see. Question 15 is an estimate question. Let's go back to one of these ones that we skipped, just to see if we can gain some of these easy marks, or they're a bit harder. Let's go to question 10 here. So I'll give you a few seconds to do question 10, and then I think that is our time will be over. So off you go, have a go. Okay, before I start question 10, if you're still here, subscribe to the channel. And if you want me to carry on with these live sessions, just comment. If you prefer my style of going through the paper, just comment on it. I'm deliberately kind of skipping through things, so just comment on it if you prefer that, or you prefer me to go through a topic. All right, so we got this question 10. Show that x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3 can be written in the form ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d, where a, b, c, d are positives. Oh my goodness, where are all these letters coming from? All right, let's keep it simple. Forget all of that. Let's just write x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. What is that? That is expanding triple brackets. So that is essentially what we're doing here. And then we'll look back at this information. So for now, I'm just going to keep it simple and then just expand these triple brackets. So first of all, I'm going to choose the first two. X plus 1, x plus 2, expand this. So I'm going to multiply. I'm going to use the FOIL method if you like the first ones. I just prefer using arrows, to be honest, rather than calling it FOIL. So the first term is going to multiply these two. So there's 2 boxes there. There's a reason why I'm doing the boxes and the arrows. And then this term will multiply those 2. So I've got my arrows here. So I've got another term here, and then the 4th term here. Now, you filling this in gets you a method mark. So that's really important. That's why I do these boxes. So let's expand this out. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x, so plus 2x. All of this is positive. That's a good thing. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times 2 is 2. Now I need to collect like terms, simplify this. This is a squared term here. There's nothing there, so x squared. This is an x term and an x term, so I can collect these two. So I've got 2 plus 1 gives me 3, so that's 3x. X term, that's a number term. That's why I just look at this. Then I've got the number there, plus 2. So I've expanded the double brackets. Now I need to multiply all of this, x squared plus 3x plus 2, with the third bracket, which I haven't touched yet, so x plus 3. And again, I'm going to multiply this term with these two, this term with these two, and this term with these two. So you've got 2, 4, 6 terms. But I'm going to do something. Look at my squares. So this is going to multiply with that. This is going to multiply with that. Now, because it's the next term, I'm just going to put a box underneath it. And then this one here. Okay, and then the last one is going to multiply that one. So I'm going to go here. And then this one will go there. So I've got these. Now, you don't have to remember the order of these boxes. If you do, then that's great. But it's just, I've simplified things, and I'll explain why in a minute. So I've got x cubed times x. X squared times x, rather, is x cubed. X squared times 3 is plus 3x squared. 3x times x is 3x squared plus 3x squared. 3x times 3, so 3 times 3 is 9x. 2 times x is 2x, so plus 2x. 2 times 3 is 6, so plus 6. So I'm going to collect the like terms. So you can see this is a cube one. This is a square and a square, x and an x. I've kind of collected like terms because of how I've laid it out. If you remember that, that's great. If you don't worry. So x cubed, x squared and x squared. So 3 plus 3 is 6, 6x squared. 9 plus 2, and these are x's, so that's 11. 9 plus 2 is 11x, and plus 6. So you got a method mark here, and then for this part here, this expansion, you get another method mark, and then your final answer is that. So 3 more marks here. 1, 2, 3 marks, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 marks. We're already on a grade 5, and we've skipped a lot of these hard questions, and we've done it with explanations in about 50 minutes. So with explanations, so without explanations, probably in half an hour. So all the other hard questions we can take our time and do. So if you've enjoyed today's lesson, just comment, and I'll see you in the next one, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Take care. Bye-bye.